This is the worst thing you can do for your chess improvement. It's called hope chess, but it's not the version you're probably thinking of. It isn't the mistake of making threats that are easily refutable and then getting punished. Instead, it's the version coined by candidate master and chess teacher Dan Heisman over 25 years ago. So, what is hope chess? Well, it's essentially foresight, or more like a lack of foresight. Playing hope chess means you are unable or unwilling to see your opponent's ideas, and instead are just hoping for the best. The importance of seeing your enemy's plans has been echoed throughout history. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles, Sun Tzu, and think carefully of any long-term consequences before taking action. Ludwig Hatschek. Level 1. Flip coin chess. This is the most rudimentary thought process mistake and can be found mostly in complete beginners, but even as high as 1000 plus. As defined by Dan Heisman, in flip coin chess, players don't even pay much attention to their opponent's moves and often miss easy threats. For example, in this game, our friend here played bishop takes f6, which is, it's alright, but after queen takes f6, they failed to spot the obvious threat black was making. Playing the blunder e takes d5. Unfortunately, they got checkmated immediately. The breakdown in thinking that is happening here is that white sees the free pawn, but does not stop to consider why black played queen takes f6, leaving the pawn undefended. You must see how this is a problem. If you are blind to the ideas your opponent has, then that means that any threat they make, they will be able to capitalize on. This is well demonstrated in this next example, when black plays rook a6, and white fails to consider why, electing to take a free pawn instead of saving the queen. These may seem like obvious mistakes, but is a natural failing for under 1000. After all, most people are more interested in their own ideas than other people's ideas, and that's okay. If you wish to fix this, for every move your opponent makes, look for 3 things. 1. What is the moved piece now attacking? 2. What was opened up by moving that piece? And 3. What could the moved piece do on the next move? Once you've identified their threats, figure out a response, and play it. To train this, puzzles are, of course, very good to build up your understanding of where the pieces move and how they interact with each other. Additionally, going over all your games, even for 1 minute, and seeing where and how you blundered can increase your awareness of the issue. Listen, don't get it twisted. Mastering this will not get you above 1000, but making these mistakes will stop you from becoming 1000. Level 2. Basic hope chess. This is seen mostly in upper level beginners, around the 1000 mark. This is when you, to your credit, are taking into account your opponent's most recent move, often replying to an opponent's threat, which is not done at level 1. However, you are not checking to see if the opponent has a dangerous response next move. In this example, black responds to the threat, in this case a check, which they have to do, and has the choice between 2 moves. If they play king d7, white has absolutely nothing, as black can simply get the king to safety, and ultimately win the game as black has a huge material advantage. However, black does not take into account white's possible follow-ups, carelessly playing king e7, walking straight into checkmate. This example was provided by Dan Heisman himself. In this position, white made the unfortunate error of queen h1 check. Clearly, white had not taken a second to look at black's possible responses, as black's only response wins him the game. Queen g1 check forces a trade of queens into a 1 endgame for black, and white soon resigned. If they had looked ahead, white may have found the simple queen f2, when they can quickly win both of black's remaining pawns and ultimately the game. Improving at this level is the same as level 1. Puzzles and analyzing games. It's that simple. It's also just a mindset shift. Always remembering that every time you think a move you're playing is good, look at what your opponent is going to do on the next move. Quick side note, please subscribe! I'm trying to become the richest man that has ever lived and I need your help, please! Level 3. Passive hope chess. Most common between 1200 to 1700. This is when you do briefly check if everything is safe. You're not truly analyzing your opponent's possibilities, merely doing a quick scan for danger. This is particularly damaging as people who suffer from this often do not even realize. It's a completely passive behavior, when in reality, they are only using their tactical vision. This is good, getting past levels 1 and 2, but it is also a huge problem. Many tactics are unnatural and atypical, and you may not have come across similar ones before, so using only your pattern recognition simply won't work all the time. Dan Heisman rightly points out that many tactics to win a pawn are not included in tactics books or puzzle websites, so are easily missed relying solely on your pattern recognition. Here is a fairly embarrassing example from a game of my own. Right now, I'm up a pawn early on, and the simple queen takes queen earns me a much better endgame. However, I spent a mere 15 seconds and, playing some hope chess myself, blundered with queen f6. Well, I did pass level 1, knowing my queen was hanging, and level 2, moving it to a safe place. I missed level 3, my opponent's ideas. Queen b5 check, ruining my ability to castle and picking up a pawn, and now it is I who finds myself in the worst position. In this game, Black correctly recognized the threat to his knight, passing level 1. Then, they played knight c3, knowing there was a safe square with no simple tactic to win the knight, passing level 2. But knight c3 is a blunder, as Black missed White's response of rook d7 check, picking up the bishop on b7. However, if Black had analyzed their opponent's likely next moves, like checks, captures and attacks, they would have instead played knight d4, blocking the rook's path to d7 and saving the game. Finally, here is an example by Magnus Carlsen himself from his 2020 match in the Legends of Chess events against Vasily Ivanchuk. In this position, he played queen b3, hitting the rook and aiming to infiltrate with decisive effect with rook f7 on the next move. Magnus managed to pass levels 1 and 2, but failed at level 3, as he soon resigned since queen d7 check was found by Ivanchuk, which would have led to a quick checkmate. If Magnus had even taken an extra second to analyze the position, he may have found the multi-purpose queen e8, supporting rook f7 and guarding the d7 square from the queen, and Magnus would have won easily. Getting past level 3 is much harder than levels 1 and 2. If you're at level 3, you've probably done every puzzle there is under the sun, and puzzles can only take you so far. The path is reviewing and annotating your own games, usually longer, classical time control games, vetting out both your own plans and your opponent's plans. This forces you to pay attention to what your opponent is trying to do. So please, pay attention to your opponent's ideas to stop playing hope chess, and finally hit your chess potential.